Good Saturday morning, January the 11th, 2025. This video, the 1901 season of Nap Lajoie, Baseball Hall of Famer, has to go down as one of the greatest seasons of all time as far as batting average. Now, there have been other seasons where guys have had tremendous home runs, RBIs, base hits. Nap Lajoie in 1901 accomplished something that only two other guys have accomplished. You want to know what it is? We have to look at his season, 1901. 131 games. Okay. Didn't play the full season, 154 game season. So he missed how many games? 23 games. But he got 544 at bats. That's key. Anytime a player gets 500 at bats in a baseball season, you have to take note. What is his production for that season? 1901, Nap Lajoie had 544 at bats. Keep that in mind. He scored 145 runs. Now that is excellent. Why? 131 games, 145 runs scored. More than a run scored per game played. 232 hits in 131 games. He got 101 more hits than games played. How about that? He averaged a hit a game, but got 101 more. 232. Excellent. 48 doubles. If you get 40 doubles in a season, you're good. 14 triples, 14 homers. Okay, now slugger. But he had 125 runs batted in. That's very good. That's the third time he's been over 100 RBIs. He has 3 100 runs scored seasons, and now he has 3 100 RBI seasons. 27 stolen bases, 24 walks. Listen to this. I didn't know this. 544 at-bats. He struck out 9 times. That's all. 9 times. This guy makes contact. And here's the stat that convinced me that this season is one of the greatest of all time. Could be in the top 15 or 20 greatest seasons of all time. But as far as batting average, it's in the top 3 greatest batting average seasons of all time. Why? He bats .426, and it's no fluke. .426. Now, Ty Cobb he got up to .420. So did George Sisler. How about .426? Now, I was curious. Who has had a better season than that as far as batting average? Well, if you go to career baseball batting average leaders on Baseball Reference, you'll see it lists some Negro League players in the Negro Leagues back in the 1920s and 30s and 40s as having a greater batting average season. But there's a caveat, or should I say we need to pause. Why? Well, if you look more closely, it says that Titelo Vargas hit .471 in 1943. So I clicked on it. He only had 121 at-bats. Doesn't count for me. So I'm going to disregard that. Okay, sorry, Vargas. Then it lists Josh Gibson hit .466 in 1943. So I clicked on that. 249 at bats. Not enough. I need 500 at bats. So here's the trivia question of the day. Which player had 500 or more at bats in a season and has the highest batting average of all time in a season? There's only two other guys that beat Nap Lajoie's 426. Now, I told you, Nap had 544 at bats, so he is top three. But there's two guys that beat him. And who are they? Well, if you go down the list, it says Lyndon Bostock at 469. No, 466. But I clicked on him. Did he have 500 at bats? Come on, he only has 73 at bats. Doesn't count. Why Baseball Reference lists that? I don't know. You should have a minimum here. It's got to be 500 at bats, right? That's how you get a batting title, right? Isn't that the criteria today? 500 at bats? I think so. I go to the next guy, Charlie Smith, 1929, hit 451. .246 at bats, not enough. So those guys, Vargas, Gibson, Bostock, and Smith are out. Baseball Reference should not have that on there. They made a mistake. You got to have a minimum. 500 is my criteria. Now, if you want to list other guys with 400 or 300 at bats, go ahead. But my trivia question is, which players have 500 or more at bats in a season and have the highest batting average of all time? Number one on the list. Do you know who it is? Hugh Duffy. In 1894, had a year for the ages. 1894, he had 539 at bats. Legitimate. 237 hits, and he bats 440. So he's number one, 440. He beat Nap Lajoie's 426. So he's number one. Who's number two? Well, listen to a guy named Buddy Bergebash. Negro Leagues. So I clicked on him. They say he hit 438 in 1934. The problem is only 112 at bats does not count. So he's out. Who's next? It says that Tip O'Neill in 1887 hit 435. So I clicked on him. 1887, guess what? He had 517 at bats. So he's number two on the list. 225 hits, and he bats 435. Tip O'Neill. Not in the Hall of Fame, though. But how about that year for Tip? So he's number two. Then I kept going down the list. It says Artie Wilson at 433. He's in Negro Leagues. Oh, man. Come on. 120 at bats. He's out. Oscar Charlton. A lot of people rave about this guy. He hit 433 in 1921. How many at bats? .284. A little bit more. Not enough for me, though. 433. 77 games. Too bad he didn't keep playing more games to get over that 500 threshold. So he doesn't count. I still got Duffy and O'Neill 1 and 2. They say Ray Dandridge, 1934, hit 432. Click on him. .118 at bats. Not enough. Come on. He's out. Ross Barnes, old school, hit 429 in 1876. 322 at bats, a little bit more. Not just the 100, the 200, but 322. Not enough. You got to get to the 500. He's out, Ross Barnes. But he would be close. Oscar Charlton in 1925 hit 427. One more better than Nap Lajoie. Click on him. 420, 255 at bats. So the answer to the trivia question, which three players in baseball history have 500 or more at bats and have the highest batting average in a season? The answer, Hugh Duffy's 440, over 500 at bats. Number two, Tip O'Neill, over 500 at bats. He batted 435. So 440, 435. And number three on the list is the guy I'm covering. Nap Lajoie. 426 in 1901. And it's 544 at bats. How about that? 463 on base. How about the slugging? 643. He had 350 total bases. What a year! Nap Lajoie has to go down his 1901 season as the top three offensive season of all time as far as batting average. Not homers and RBIs, because there's other guys that have astounding hits in a season, 257, i.e. George Sisler, right? 257 hits in one season. How about that? And there's other guys that have had incredible home run seasons. Barry Bonds had 73 homers with an asterisk because we don't know about the performance-enhancing drug aspect of that season. You got Mark McGwire's 70 homers. Again, an asterisk. You got Sammy Sosa had a couple of 60 homer seasons. Again, an asterisk because of the performance-enhancing drugs. How about Aaron Judge? He hit 62. That's a pretty good season. And then we got the Babe at 60 homers. Nap Lajoie, 1901 season. One of the greatest batting average seasons of all time. Top three all time among 15,000 ball players who have played. 1901, remember. 426. How about that? And let's see, 1901. This is his 6th year in the league. He's 26 years old. He's got 6 seasons over 300 batting. Also, this season, he did something which I really, really like. 5 things I want a player to do in a baseball season. 5. What is it? Have 100 RBIs. Or no, 100 runs scored. Start off with that stat. 100 runs scored. Nap Lajoie, 145. Okay, 1. Have 200 or more hits in a season. Nap Lajoie, 232. So he's got 2. Have 100 RBIs. That's the third thing I like a guy to do in a season. Nap Lajoie, 1901, 125. So he's got 3. Bat over 300 for the season. That's the 4th thing I like. Nap Lajoie, 426. So he's got 4 things. And the 5th thing I like is have 300 or more total bases in a season. Nap Lajoie, 1901, 350 total bases. He goes 5 for 5. What a year. Can't stress it enough. Deservedly Hall of Fame. 338 career batting average. All right, we're done with 1901. What a year. How about 1902 for Nap Lajoie? How does he do? We'll get into it next. I'm out.